To design a Swiss repeat by hand, you will need 2 sheets of vellum or heavy drawing paper. I'm using 100-pound vellum, 2 sheets of tracing paper, removable tape, a mechanical pencil, a ruler, an eraser, a number 2 pencil, and a pencil sharpener. Tape 1 sheet of the drawing paper or vellum to the table and draw a 14-inch square in the center of the paper. Extend the lines past the corners on all sides. Mark the midpoints at 7 inches on each side of the square. Mark the center of the square with registration marks as well. Now draw a diamond with dashed lines in the middle of the square by connecting the centers of each side. Repeat the process on the second sheet of drawing paper, drawing another 14-inch square, but this time omitting the diamond. Set this one aside. Lay a sheet of tracing paper on top of the first square with the diamond and tape it in place. Trace the square and diamond onto the tracing paper. Fill the central diamond with shapes, either by drawing freehand shapes or tracing around objects. This will be a tossed repeat design, so the shapes should be scattered evenly across the block. Allow the shapes to overlap the diagonal lines of the diamond, but avoid the corners. Do not overlap 2 diagonal lines with the same shape. Once the diamond is filled, label each quadrant of the square with an A, B, C, and D, starting with A in the upper left corner and moving clockwise. Draw a meandering line between the shapes from the top corner of the diamond to the bottom, and from the left corner to the right. Go around the shapes rather than through them. Cut out the block that you've drawn on the tracing paper. Then cut the quadrants apart along the meandering lines. Reassemble the quadrants in their original order. Then rearrange them by moving C to the upper left, A to the lower right, D to the upper right, and B to the lower left. Carefully realign them on the square beneath and tape in place. Fill the new center with additional shapes, maintaining the same spacing and balance that was used in the outer sections. Tape the fresh sheet of tracing paper over the 4 quadrants. Trace the square, all of the shapes, and the shape fragments that fall within the square onto the second sheet of tracing paper. Lift the tracing paper away from the table and move it around to the outside edges of the original design to pick up the shape fragments that fell outside the square initially. The fragments should now fall inside the square on the second sheet of tracing paper. The design is now ready to be proofed to see how it looks in repeat.